Dr. Linda, are you ready for us?
Yes.
I'll bring you in, but I need to do an amazing introduction because I can't just bring you in without not telling them how fantastic you have been.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See. So I'm going to read about here real quick. Can you please put about there for us? Anyway, it's okay. Dr. Linda, she's right there, beautiful lady. She has two organizations here in America and also in Nigeria. She is the co-founder of a non-for-profit organization, one in called Arise and Shine in Stratford in Nigeria, as well as Cross River. She's married. She's right there, beautiful lady. She has two organizations here in America. Can you please mute her call, please? Okay. So she has a medical degree in medicine and surgery from the University of Calabar. She also received her MBA from the University of Phoenix, Arizona, USA. She herself is a survivor of domestic violence. Based on this survivor skill she had, she had obtained by herself, she was able to stem out passion to help women. And today we'll hear how we can convert those pains we've gone through into triumph and passion. Dr. Linda, you're welcome here today.
Hi, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to give honor to Pastor D. I call her Pastor DY. Thank you so much. She's a mentor and a friend and a mother to me. So I really honor and celebrate you, Ma, for having me on your platform. So I'm streaming on Instagram too, so my friends will see me going up, my head moving up and down. So I'm trying to be on two places at the same time. But again, it's a great honor to be here and celebrate the achievements of Touch Life, and I really appreciate it. Today we'll be talking about turning pain into purpose. As you heard from the bio, I'm not just a survivor of domestic violence, I'm a thriver of domestic violence. First of all, what I want to lay as a foundation is that in life, we make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes one way or the other. Some mistakes are painful, some mistakes are can be corrected, some mistakes are challenging, some mistakes are not, we can't correct them. And we go through hurt, we go through pain in life, and some of them are very mighty, some of them are not as weighty as others, but pain is something we go through every day. And the ability to go through this pain and be able to have the resilience to come in and makes you a great survivor, makes you resilient when it comes to pain. So first of all, I want to tell us, lay a foundation, because I'm a woman of faith. We must allow God to find expressions in us. See, we are, as Bible says, we are, 2 Corinthians says, God has deposited something in us. And that same thing that deposited in us is treasure. It's called treasure in clay. So every human being carries a jar. I put it as simple as it. Everybody carries a jar that has a container of treasures. And so that same thing that God is interested in, the same thing the devil is interested in. So he's competing for that same jar of treasures. And so when we know that we are carriers of this jar of treasures, then it's good for us to know that, because when you know that, you know whenever you have challenges in life, that is not the end of it. And so once in a while, life throws us challenges unannounced. And we find that sometimes some people, because of the challenges life has thrown to them, they set back, they lock their heart, they refuse to reflect the purpose which God created us. And first and foremost, the purpose which God created us for was to be like him. God sent us here on earth to be represented. There's a purpose he created you for. And sometimes life throws us challenges so that there can be a detour in that purpose. But I want to encourage someone today that your pain can be turned to something beautiful. And I want to tell my best story is the Madman of Gadara. That's in Mark, it's in the Mark chapter 5, and it's in Matthew 2. The Madman of Gadara, if you read the story, that was a man that went through pain. Bible, what he used to go through, he used to tear himself up. He used to destroy himself. But you know what? That madman of Gadara, if you read further, he became the first archbishop of Decapolis. He was the first archbishop of Decapolis. So that to tell you that your pain that you're going through, it cannot be wasted. You can't afford to waste it. There's a reason why God allowed you to go through it. And God has a sense of, God made us, he made us for a purpose. And that purpose is so that we can be all that he has created us to be. So every time we go through challenges in life, it's all to find out, are we working towards that purpose or we're walking away from that purpose? Challenges, they attack again our treasures. In a place of that assignment that God has called you to be, that place of assignment, it will always go through challenges. It will always go through challenges. It's not a curse, it will always go through challenges so that you can declare, and is this what God called me for? And am I ready for this purpose? You can flip your pain. Again, I said you can flip your pain into and bet it into purpose. Purpose, people should hear your story. Like, I just don't want to put Pastor DY on the spot now. Pastor DY experienced domestic violence, and see what she has turned that pain into. See what she has turned to, and she has been able for 7 years. She has been impacting lives, not just locally, not just in New Jersey. She's been impacting lives. In fact, I'm talking to Pastor DY. The reason why I'm having this conversation, I'm in this meeting talking to you, is because of the pain that she's gone through. And so I want to encourage somebody today. People need to hear your story. In that your mess, there is beauty in it. In that thing that you think is the worst thing, is the worst part of you that comes. Because sometimes when pain, most times when we go through shame, we go through pain, we don't want to talk about it. We are ashamed. We don't want to let people know what we've gone through, because especially like in social media, everybody wants to exaggerate your pain. They want to make fun of you. But I decided long time ago, I say, you know what, I'm not going to be ashamed of this pain that I've gone through as a survivor of domestic violence and a tribe of domestic violence. I'm going to turn this pain that I've gone through into something beautiful. And so that is why I go around talking to people about this, that in spite of what you've gone through, you can still live a life of no regrets. You can still live a life and fulfill your purpose. I like this thing I saw somewhere. It says, broken vessels, broken crayons still color. No matter how broken the crayon is, it can still color. So as a broken vessel can still be restored. There's this phenomenon called the Kimsugi Effect. Kimsugi, it's spelled K-I-N-T-S-U-G-I. It's an artwork in the Japanese industry, where they take something that has been broken, one of the fine china, whatever has been broken, and the cracks, they use powdered gold to line that crack. It is not to hide that crack. In fact, that gold that goes through the crack, when they finish with this product, aligning those cracks with that powder, the vessel comes out even of more value than what it was before. And so what I want to encourage anybody here, that, you know what, because you have been broken, you can still be scarred, but still be beautiful. You can still be broken and still become something of value. That Kimsugi phenomenon is something, everybody, I love to use that analogy, because it makes me know that, you know what, your pain was not wasted. Your pain shouldn't be wasted in anything you go through. So when you're going through any pain, any situation, find out, why am I going through this thing? And you know, God is a masterpiece. He uses the least slightly silly things of life, you know what, to bring out the beauty in us. He uses foolish things, like Bible says, to confirm the wise. In the moment when you're going through those pain, when you're going through that part, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel good. But don't let your setback put your back down. Don't let the setback put you down, your back down. One time I was going to drop my son in the school, and there was a detour. And to the school, I was like, this is wasting of my time. I'm going to take the shortest cut. You know what, I'm going to still pass through and find my way. You know what, I refused to follow the sign of the detour, because I thought I know the place very well, and let me follow the shortcut. You know what, I ended up getting to the detour again. The more I tried, you know what, I now finally gave up. I said, you know what, I wasted time trying to do it on my own. And I found out that I had to listen, pay attention to the detour sign. And that was what was able to take me. I was so frustrated, and God was teaching me something. That is what happens in life. Life could have turns and bends, unannounced. Life could throw you things. People say sometimes when it happens on your own accord, you say, okay, I'm the one that put myself. But sometimes when it is something of not, it's not your fault. You don't have anything to handle. You don't have any control. What do you do with it? So if you list, the first thing is to yield that pain back to God. No matter how the pain is, I've experienced that life still goes on. Nobody will say, unless you decide, people that decide to end their life with suicide. But life doesn't stop for anybody. Life must still go on, no matter the pain. So if you don't process and understand that part, that life must go on, then you get stuck in that process, in that valley. You get stuck, whatever time period you're going in, and you get stuck there forever and ever and ever. And then you begin to, grudge over it. And so what do you do when you feel that you've lost everything? What do you do with the pain that you've gone through? It seems like you've lost the connection with Jesus. And at that time, Jesus seems to be a very, very far distant place. In fact, to you at that time, Jesus doesn't even really exist. When I was going through my own valley of the shadow of death, that's what I call it. I was going through that pain. Jesus did not make sense. I lost the faith. I couldn't start even praying. I lost everything that had to do with prayers. But what I want to tell you, that even it is so painful, in that pain that you're going through, God has something beautiful inside of it. Your pain is a treasure hole. It holds, like, you know how you used to watch all those Sinbad and all those things, all those movies where they go into the deep sea and to get a chest of dry with things that has been lost. That is what pain is all about. In that treasure, in that box, in that chest of pain, there is a treasure. So what do you do when life does a number on you and you can't help it, and you've lost everything? You've lost everything that makes you you. People tell me, Linda, I was someone that was very vibrant. I was good. I was very articulate. I was this and I was that. But when I went through that pain, for someone like me, I went through a lot. I went through psychological, emotional, physical, and even health, spiritual challenges. I lost my memory. I lost my memory. I would speak and I would stutter. I forgot what is social security. I forgot my social security. I forgot the whole existence of me, that I existed. I became a recluse. And thank God for that shackle. So if you're going through pain, whatever the source of pain, I want to encourage somebody that you must learn a new way of thinking. You must not allow that pain. Because one of the things I did was, I know what, Linda, am I going to continue here with this pain and just sit there, be angry with myself and not forgive myself? And one of the greatest things I did was to forgive myself. When you're going through pain and hurt, you have to forgive yourself. Especially if you've gone to the place of throne of God in prayer, you've gone to the throne of grace and asked God for mercy. But sometimes it's find out that it's difficult for some people to forgive themselves. And I call it spiritual arrogance. When God has forgiven you and you're still carrying that weight of what the pain that you went through the past, you need to let it go. You need to forgive yourself because God has forgiven you. You need to push through the process. You need to allow God to heal you, because that was the first thing I did. That was how I was able to, the first place I went to, I was to ask God to help me take care of this. Everything that threatens to destroy you, everything that threatens to destroy you in your pain process, it's teaching you how to swim. I listened to someone talked about what's the guy that created the bulb. His name just slipped my memory. He created the bulb. People thought he failed. He didn't fail. He just learned different ways, about 1,000 times, 1,000 different ways. Albert Einstein, thank you so much. He just learned 1,000 ways of how to make this. And now we are enjoying it. Nobody can understand his frustration. Nobody knows what he was going through. Is it Thomas Edison? Thank you so much, Thomas Edison, guys. You see successful people that have made impact in life, in the social life. If you read their story, read what they've gone through. You see that they've gone through a series of pain, but they are able to bounce back. Sometimes life is a peach, and sometimes life is a lemon. But whatever way, the beautiful thing is that it's designed to make something beautiful out of you. And God said he will be there with you in every situation you go through. He did not promise us there are not going to be thorns in your life. He promised that whatever you're going through, he's going to be there. So I want to encourage somebody today that you are stronger than even what you know. When I lost everything in the process of that domestic violence, I did not see myself being able to speak or being able to talk again. I had given up on life. I had decided to commit suicide. I had suicidal ideation and I wanted to kill myself because I thought, and the devil was telling me that is the best thing to do, because the devil will always tell you the opposite of what is in God's word. But thank God for the grace of God that helped me and broke those shackles of suicide. And that's what happens when I blame myself at that time, because I did not even reach out to many people. See, what people like TouchLink is doing now, creating awareness. I didn't even know much about domestic violence, and I didn't know much about domestic violence and all the tools and all the services that's out there. And that's why we need to encourage people, TouchLink and other organizations like this, creating awareness and letting people know there's a way. You don't have to end your life the way it is. So not everything we go through in life nothing in life we go through is designed to kill us. It's designed, even the saying is the popular song, what you go through makes you stronger. So today I encourage you to focus on the sunrise. Approaching your purpose from a place of fear just waters down the experience. Please permit yourself, regardless of what you've gone through, ask God first, what is it that I'm going through? Why am I going through this? What is the reason behind this pain? I first remember when I was going through that, I used to tell God, why me? Why me? Why did you allow me to go through this? Why me? Why not somebody else? But now, you know what? I am thankful. I am thankful for that is part of my history. I am thankful that for tomorrow, I know that my future is great. I'm thankful that I've used the pain that I went through to be able to create value in the lives of women. I've used that pain to be able to encourage other women. And when I listen to women and they tell me, Linda, thank you so much. Because I tell people, never be ashamed of your scars. I wear them as a badge. Just like you see how they decorate the military people with badges and design, that is what your scars are. It's what you've gone through. It's your authenticity. It makes you who you are. Scars are a proof that whatever tried to kill you cannot kill you, did not kill you. And so you are hard, you don't have to be hard on yourself. You let yourself do that. Even though I'm broken, I can still make it again. Please, how much time do I have? So I know how much time.
You're doing well, Doctor.
Okay.
You have about 20 minutes, about 90 minutes.
Okay. So whatever you go through, please. Never remember that the brokenness, when you're going through this brokenness, you're going through that pain, it's a period of brokenness. Just ask God why. Not asking God why me, but asking God, how can I turn this pain into something of value? And again, I encourage people, you know what, when you're going through this pain, you need to follow some steps. Most of the things I did then, I did them, but looking at hindsight now, I would have done them better. First of all, you need to honor your pain. When I say honor your pain, I'm not saying live and dwell in it. Avoidance of pain will increase the pain. You know what? I acknowledge that I've gone through this pain. Okay, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I've gone through. Yes, I acknowledge it. But to what is the next step? First of all, so you honor the pain. You must pass through the doorway of suffering as part of the life in this journey. If you look at great men in the Bible, they went through their own trials. You must pass through your own trials. And someone in the Bible too that I remember was Joseph. Joseph, I call him the guy with the 5 P's. From the pit, when he passed through his pain with the pit. From the pit to Potiphar. From Potiphar, he went to prison. From prison, he became the prime minister. But when Joseph was going through this, I'm sure if it was Joseph, he would have been telling God, why me? Why did you give me this dream? Why? But see the beauty of Joseph. See the beauty of how his story ended. I look at it, I say, this guy went through all those P's and became a prime minister. He became a prime minister. But when he was going through that, it wasn't palatable. I can imagine what he was going through. And the second thing is reach out to people. Have a community of people that will help you. For Chris, I need to say this again. Please, I'm a woman of faith. There's a place for faith and there's a place for counseling. Counseling by the right people that God has placed And your pastor is still there to give you spiritual counseling, but you still need counseling with other tools from these people that have been, God has given them the wisdom. I don't think your pastor, you have to put your pastor up. Your pastor cannot play all the role. You still need a place for counseling. You need to go to counseling where you talk about what you've gone through, where they can give you some tools. I know fasting and praying are very, very necessary too. Reach out to others and help you in the healing process. And through that process, you could meditate, you could pray, you could learn to sing, read your Bible more, and then talk to people more. Take a break. One thing I did was to take a break from the pain. When I mean take a break, you know what? Find creative activities to do. Because if you sit down and we're talking about the pain from morning to night, the pain will still be there. You need to look for ways to take a break, take a walk, do something creative. Do something. It was through the pain I was going through, I started knowing that I could write. I never knew. I started journaling. Everywhere I was writing and sticking things to the wall. Again, if you need help, touch link is there for you. The information is there on the screen. The next thing to do, again, is learn from it. Again, the road to wisdom is paved through suffering. Move on. That is the most important thing. Move on. By moving on, first of all, you have to forgive yourself. You have to come to a place that God is the only one that can help you with this pain. And again, that phenomenon of Kimsugi Effect is something I love so much. When they use the powder to cover the cracks, it's not to hide the cracks. It's to even enhance the beauty of the piece. At the end of the day, it shows that it says that the piece becomes even more worthy, more expensive than what it was. So a broken plate or whatever that could have been sent into the trash is now being made beautiful. So please don't waste your pain. Whatever it is that you've gone through, there's a reason behind it. In it are treasures that could help somebody else. In it is a thing that could save somebody. In it is something that could help somebody else. The world is waiting for you. God is waiting for you to pass through. And again, Jesus Christ, which is a typical example, the best example we could ever go through. When did he have to go through pain? He did go through pain. But it is in his pain, in the pain he went through, that our salvation was better. So anytime you go through pain, please, there must be a reason for it. Ask God, what do you want me to learn from this pain? What lessons can I learn from? How can I use this pain to be a blessing to others? And again, nothing can be wasted. Nothing can be wasted. Come to a place where you say, you know what, whatever pain I've gone through, I'm going through it so that I can fulfill the purpose. So your purpose can be, your pain can be turned to purpose. It can be turned to promise. You are the one holding yourself. You know, we have this narrative that, you know what, once you've gone through pain, you know what, every time you see the person, oh, she's going through pain. That's why she can't oh, she went through pain. She did this. That's why. Give me an example. I've seen widows I've seen women that are widows, and they've used that pain of widowhood to bet something special. I've seen people that have gone through domestic violence to bet something, to be a voice, to be an advocate. I've seen people that have gone through addictions and using that addiction to help other people. So whatever you're going through, there is a reason. There's somebody out there that is going to be blessed by it. And I don't know how much more time I have, but I'm going to stop here if anybody has any questions, so that I don't take much of your time.
Dr. Alinda, you've done excellently well. You will still have about 10 minutes more, but I'm going to just throw it out there. A little bit statistics about domestic violence. You know, at least you know that 20 people per minute are physically abused by their intimate partners. Surprisingly, 1 out of 4 in the US are abused every minute. And you would think that that's 1 out of 4 women. For men, guess the figure, 1 out of 9 people are abused. Just take a ponder on that for a minute. So my personal experience with domestic violence, doctor, is I came across a friend of mine in 2013. She was married and she didn't even know she was being domestically violated. She just realized that her husband wouldn't talk to her, her husband wouldn't touch her. The first and the last time they kissed was on the wedding day. Yes, and she found more solace, or peace in speaking to people outside, not about what she's going through, but just developing that friendship with them. So she decided to have that thin skin towards success. She just felt failure was the best thing to do, And that to me got my attention because I wondered, what if it was my sister? What if it was my own partner? What if it was somebody that was very close to me? And I could guess she was on the verge of committing suicide because she had so many, she was on drugs. An accountant who moved from being an accountant, she just converted completely into a drug addict. She wasn't even talking to anybody anymore. And it took intervention of people to understand that this is what you're going through. So one question I want to ask you, doctor, is how do you overcome the fear of speaking out? Because a lot of people are scared. A lot of people understand that if I speak out, they probably won't understand what I'm going through. They might even criticize me. They might even think I'm lying. And that way you bottle up that fear inside you and you end up hurting yourself so much that you now get used to failure.
So that's an excellent question because first of all, that was what I went through too. I was like, why, who's going to believe my story? And that's what people come up with the term gaslighting because they make it feel like what you're saying does not make sense. It's not true. But you know what? I've come to a realization that, you know what? Your story is your story. It doesn't matter who believes you or not, but there's somebody there outside there that you're sent to. You cannot convince the whole world. So irrespective of whether people believe you or not, you need to speak up. We need people to create that. We need to speak up because in speaking up, that a lot of people that have died in domestic violence like this. A lot of people have died because they didn't know what domestic violence was. And they didn't have anybody. And like me, I was here. I came from Nigeria. I didn't know anything about domestic violence. And you say, a medical doctor, no, because you know what, in Africa, when you're going through such things in your marriage, God forbid, woe betide you, you tell somebody that they say, oh, you think, oh, every marriage is like that, just keep quiet, Joe. He's not beating you. He's not hitting you, right? He's not hitting you. And I personally thought he was having a bad day. So bad day one, bad day 2, day 3, it increased. I'm like, this bad day is getting too long. I never knew what domestic violence was. Until I spoke with someone, when I spoke with someone and I told them I was being locked out of the house, my passport was taken. I didn't know because I was brought from Nigeria, I'm an immigrant, so he has right to hold my passport. So for people going through like that, I tell people you need to speak up. Don't mind whether people will believe you or not. You know what it doesn't. It's better to speak up and be alive than to die inside of it.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, if you do have questions, please leave your questions in the chat box. Coming up in about 5 minutes, we'll be bringing in a victim of domestic violence. Like I said, she's been through a lot, just like Dr. has explained. She overcame it, and now I'm pretty sure by the time you hear testimonies, you might be so much emotional about it. Doctor, I have another question to ask you. So I do know that they say, just don't give up. Keep trying, like you said, by the way, you said, when you're going through it, identify it. First of all, forgive yourself. Know that this is what I've been through. Give yourself a treat. Like, okay, just relax. Trust God in what you're going through as well. Reach out. Never be ashamed of your scar and things like that. But while you're going through that process, what is the assurance that there is hope? Because it might take you 2 days. It might take you 4 days. It might take you 5 days. It might take you 1 year. You might say, okay, you know what? I've been doing this. I've been seeing a therapist. I've been talking to friends and families, but I'm still feeling the same way I'm feeling. This technique is not working. What is the assurance that, okay, someday I will see the light at the end of the tunnel. Someday I'll find happiness. Someday I will sleep and I won't be dreaming of scars or the way they hurt me. What is the assurance of the hope?
Excellent question, Toby. Again, that adage you said, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I said, no, don't wait till the end of the tunnel. Inside, while you're going through the tunnel, do not wait till the end of the tunnel because you are light yourself. You carry light. So I see myself as light. I'm not going to wait till the end of the tunnel. While I'm going through that tunnel, I see light. I speak to myself. And some of the things, that's one of the things we have to do. Our negative mindset, we need to work on our negative mindset. So the healing process takes time. It varies per individual. So you need to give yourself time to heal. Just like you have a sore in your leg, you have a surgery or whatever, it takes time. So you need to give yourself time to heal. And you cannot rush the process because if you rush the process, you might find yourself falling back. And so you need to give yourself time to heal. And when you have come, you feel yourself, yeah, of course, everything, because you've not gone through that part before, you feel that the first thing you know, the first belief, negative belief is that this thing is not going to work. But you know what? You never know until you try. You keep on trying, you take it little steps. I celebrate little wins. So when I was going through my recovery process, I forgot about myself. I lost everything about myself. But with time, I started taking good care of myself. I started self-care. I started doing one thing on it, one little step. I saw myself, I was able to smile again. I saw myself, I was able to find joy in the things that I used to do before, the things that were not, that I found joy, that I lost hope, or I forgot about it. I started finding joy, I started picking it. So for everybody, it's different. So you find out yourself. That is why counseling is very important. It takes time. It is not a journey. Whether it's something that you've done to yourself or something was done to you, something has been taken out from you. So to restore that thing again is going to take, it's just like a phone. Your phone dies, the batteries all run out. Do you charge it and you want to go for a long journey? If you want to go for a long journey, you're going to charge it for a long time, right, Toby? You're going to charge it for a long time. If you're going for just in your driveway, you can charge it for 5 minutes. So for the long run, you need time for yourself to heal. You need time for yourself to heal. And you yourself will know. Nobody can tell you. You will know when you've healed.
All right. Thank you so much. Sister Yolanda, you have a question to ask?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Agu. I mean, every time you open your mouth, you talk, we just get so blessed. Thank you so much for this honor. I just bless God for your life and for testimony. So my question is, especially as we are victorious people, right? We are victors of domestic violence, but it's a thin line between pain and purpose. How do you define, when do you know, what is a purpose actually? Because I feel many people are here, they don't even know what you're talking about when you say a purpose. When do you know that, this pain is going to birth a purpose? And what is a purpose? Because at that point, when you're going through, you've lost a sense of purpose. You are worth, you are being called. You've been in that state, you've been locked down, you just see yourself as worthless, not useful. So it's two parts, the question. How do you define purpose? When do you recognize, or how do you get into the place of purpose?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much, Pastor DY. My mommy, my special New Jersey mommy, thank you so much. I know one thing I know for certain is that you can't master your life without going through the mystery, without going through the misery of life, the misery of life. For you to master your life, you must go through the misery of life. And then when it comes to purpose is the same thing as, you can call it like the calling of God upon your life. Purpose, it's like what God wants to do with your life. What God sent you before you came here. God had a plan. God had a plan down there in heaven, and he started to say, okay, I'm sending Pastor Diwa, I'm sending Toby here to fulfill this purpose. And now that, like I said, like I have this good example. For example, this hairbrush, the way the technology made it was for hairbrush, just to brush the hair. That was the primary design of the hairbrush. But an African father can decide to use it. An African parent can decide to use this as a corrective weapon, right? Somebody else can decide to use this as to put a nail through the shoe. Somebody else could decide to use this for, this thing can come with different purpose. But is that fulfilling the main purpose? The main purpose, technology created this thing was to brush the hair. But they can use it for other. That's why you see on some medications, actually, they'll tell you that the medication or sprays or chemicals used in the house, they tell you that it's solely meant for a purpose. So your purpose is what God created you for. Because God himself is a master, is a creator. So he sent Toby to planet Earth. He sent Toby to Earth to do something. There's a specific reason. So, and your purpose is going to be something that when you sleep at night is giving you headache. Maybe, for example, crime with teenagers, for example. That is the passion. That is the purpose God created you for. And every time you see it gives you a headache. Like, how can I solve this problem? Your purpose is what keeps you awake. What you're worried about. How can I be a solution to this problem? I know that someone like me, I am not into finance. I know that I can never be in anything finance. I know that was not my purpose. But I know I love the restoring. I love connecting people. I love to speak with people. I'm a people person. I love that connection. So if you know your purpose, then you know the purpose. So if you know that this is the purpose, and then don't forget this defective purpose. That's another topic altogether. Like I said, somebody can use this thing to hit a child on the head. You can use this thing to knock nail through the shoe. You can use this thing for different things. You can even use it to turn food. If there's nothing to turn food, you can use it to turn food. But that was not the purpose. The main purpose of this thing was to brush the hair. And then, sorry, your second part of your question is, when you see yourself fulfilling your purpose, I'm going to put Pastor DY on the spot again. She went through this not by choice. She never wanted to go through what she went through. But for 7 years, she's been creating value. So your purpose is not really most time not for you, it's for other people to benefit. For 7 years, Pastor DY has been doing this thing, creating value in the life of people, supporting people, encouraging people, and being a voice. So your passion is something you want to help others with. You want to do it, because if you don't do it, you don't feel fulfilled.
Thank you very much, Dr. Linda. Once again, Dr. Linda.
Thank you.
So, what I'm understanding is pain, you don't need to identify your pain. You feel your pain already. Mm-hmm. Now, for the purpose, you need to first of all identify your purpose so that you can be able to turn that pain into the purpose. We need to do a lot of critical reasoning to really, first of all, what am I doing? What have I been here for? What is my purpose in life? So that at the time I have the pain, you don't even go into panic attack. You take control of situations that you can navigate it towards your pain. That was very helpful. Thank you so much. I have some questions here. I'll take that, and in the next 2 minutes we'll round up and I'll bring somebody up. I do have a question from Temitope. Temitope says, Dr. Linda, do you believe that a lot of churches have worsened domestic violence in some families? Would you want me to read out the questions to you so you can then answer them at the same time?
Yeah, read it. I asked the question. Yeah, ask it again.
All right, so the first question, I'm going to read out 2 questions to you so far. The first question is, do you believe that a lot of churches have worsened domestic violence in some families?
That's absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely, perfect. Because ignorance. I've had situation where an example where the guy was beating the spouse was beating the partner, and the lady called the pastor in the church and told the pastor, and he could hear them fighting, and the guy was telling the girl that he was going to kill the girl. He was going to kill the girl. And the pastor's comment was a ridiculous comment. Very, very ridiculous. I don't want to say it. So some pastor, because of ignorance, and sometimes I don't blame them because they don't know any better. Again, there's a place for your pastor. There's a place, I don't disregard your spiritual authority. There's a place for your pastor to counsel, but sometimes some pastors don't even know what's domestic violence. So if you don't know it, how can you provide guidance? So I tell them that, what, I know there's a place for prayer, there's a place for fasting and prayers and everything, but there is a place too for counseling. So, and I think that a lot of churches should talk about domestic violence. A lot of churches should talk about it.
I agree with you. Absolutely, I agree with you. Thank you. I'm going to read 3 questions to you, ma'am. So you might just want to have, if you do have the questions, so we can run out of time. The second question I have is from Osayu Wari. She said, thank you for the encouragement, Dr. Hagu. But what would you advise on how to come out of a violence-oriented marriage? That's the first question. Yeah. Did you get that, ma'am? Okay. The second question is from T. I'm sure T stands for name. Is can verbal abuse be considered as domestic violence as well?
Okay.
I'll let you answer those 2 questions.
Okay. How the first one was how would you come out, right? How would you come out of
how would you come out of a violence-oriented marriage?
I keep on telling people, which is better? Do you want to stay there? Some people say they want to stay there. Oh, is the father? I get the example of when I was trying to help. The guy was hitting the lady, physical, all forms of abuse. But she said she doesn't want to leave because this is the father of her child. And I told her, what if you die inside? You know what? Your life, your safety is of most important concern. Sometimes you can be separated for a while. where there's counseling and then talking. I've seen couples like that, they separate for a while and then they come back. And again, when they talk about domestic violence, it's not something that happens once, it doesn't happen. It has to be a repetitive pattern. It's a pattern. It's something that keeps on happening. So if you're verbally abusing the person every day, it's a form of abuse. Either way you do it. If it's a pattern and you're having control over the other person, it is abuse. So anyone that is going to verbal abuse, again, like I said, the first question, instead of staying down there and you lose your life, I've seen people that have lost their life just verbal. Mine wasn't physical, but I became a mess. Mine wasn't physical. It was more of emotional abuse. So emotional abuse is even worse than physical abuse.
Okay, thank you very much. The second question, I believe it's basically something you want to answer in about 20 seconds, so we can take the next question. Is can verbal abuse be considered as domestic violence as well?
Absolutely. Verbal abuse is part of domestic violence. There are many parts of domestic, financial abuse, sexual abuse, physical. There's so many. Emotional abuse, all verbal is part of domestic violence.
Thank you very much. And just so you know, you can also reach out to us at info@touchlink.org. We are there for you. We have counselors who will be able to talk to you through all this 24/7 and every week or every day of the week. And then you can also support us on www.touchlink.org. We have events. This is the month of domestic violence. Every other day, we do have speakers who will be talking to us and enlightening us about what exactly is going on. Today, we have Dr. Linda Hagu. She's been very supportive. Dr. Linda Hagu, I have other questions, but I'll pause for now. If we do have time, then we'll get back to you.
The other person told me, I'm so sorry to cut in. Let's take the last question. It's very important that somebody puts here from Raka Shannon.
Okay.
How can we heal when you face long and hard journey alone? So I think that's an important question to answer. How long?
Yeah, that's why I say one of the tips for recovery is you can't do life alone. And that's what some people think, you can do things alone. And especially like in church, I'm one of the things we're learning in the church program I'm doing. And the church is supposed to be a place where you have comfort. You come here, people, you share your stories. Unfortunately, it's not like that because sometimes you share your stories and then your stories are being used. But doing life alone, it's not advisable. You need the right people. You need the right community, the right people that can help you and see you. You need accountability partner, people that can help you and see you with what you're going through, provide the right resources for you, people that can hold your hands and say, you know what, I've walked through this journey, I can help you. People that are there to encourage you every day. There's nothing. So why do we need cheerers at the stadium? Why do we need people to cheer people up? Because when their morale is down and they're winning them, they see their people are cheering them, they see the cheerleaders out, they're like, you know what, they can pick up themselves again. So you cannot afford to do life alone. I tell anybody, no matter how it is, find somebody. And I pray that God will help you to find the right person that could help you in this journey, because you can't do this journey alone.
Amen. Can I just add to that? Also,
Yes,
because you can look for a better community. If you think you are in a community where people are not responsive or they are not trustworthy or they are not providing, if you are in a community where they are not providing the right resource, you can change your community. There are so many agencies around. There are so many, I know you're Muslim, if you feel the community that you are, where you go to mosque, people are not helpful, you can look for another community. Even your school community, get involved in PTA, get involved in with your children's friends, parents, just try. Never let it stop you. The fact that somebody disappointed you should not stop you from talking to people. If they disappointed you, if they put all your story out there, just leave them alone and move on. Look for other reliable resource. It's always around.
Thank you, everybody. My little sense is just speak it out. Talking sometimes is critical. You want to just talk it out, even if it's to your sister or to your friend or to your brother. You want to just speak it out. The process of speaking it out, healing yourself one way or the other. Okay, Dr. Linda Hagu, thank you so much for joining us today. We had a fantastic time. Honestly, I wish we had about 2 hours of this session. We'll keep going, but we promised to make it about 9 o'clock ET to end the call. But we might take a little bit take it more. But please, we had a good time having you around. Okay,
Thank you.
moving on to the next. Thank you, welcome. Moving on to the next speaker. She has been a victim of domestic violence herself as well. And I know that she has a lot to say today. And I'm sure that we'll learn. Let's try to be very, attentive and not be too emotional because there's so many things we hear from her. Beta Adu, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Binta. Okay, Binta, you have it now. If you can have it done in about 8-9 minutes, that'll be very helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for having me on your forum. I'm here today to actually share my story with you based on what my experiences are, not necessarily other people's experience. I know domestic abuse. I am a face of a survivor. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a sister. But domestic violence can actually turn you into something else, something that you are not. I married at the age of 18, and I came to United States. By the time I was 25, I'd already had 3 kids. By the time I was in my mid-30s, I've already had 4 children. So for me, hearing people talk about pain, sometimes I wonder, what is pain? If you are going through a domestic abuse, how do you even identify what pain is? Some people go through pain every day in domestic abuse and they don't even know what it is that they are feeling. For me, basically, pain is when you feel something is not right. That is pain right there. Why is it not right? And I think the greatest pain for me is being abused by someone that I love. There's a difference from you experiencing abuse from somebody that you have no love for or somebody that you have no children for. But to go through abuse in the hands of somebody that you've given all of yourself to, that you love, that you've given children, that you've invested into his life, I think is the worst pain that you can go through. For me, mine became very, very traumatic. In the process of my domestic abuse, I had to make the choice. I had no family here. I had no friends. I wasn't allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to talk to people. It was a very lonely experience. But glory be to God, I had to say to myself, this pain is too much. It doesn't feel right. It's not okay. What do I do? Where do I go? There really wasn't anywhere for me to go. So guess what I did? I started to pray. And at a point, I lost my sense of prayer. I know what I wanted, but I didn't know how to ask God for it because the pain was that deep. But the one prayer that I remember, because mine wasn't just physical abuse, it was all of the abuse that you can possibly imagine. It was physical, it was emotional, it was financial, it was verbal, name it. I went through all of it. So I got stuck in my relationship more than I should because I didn't know where to go, not because I didn't want to leave. And even if I needed help at that particular point, I didn't know where to go for help. Imagine someone, I'm a Northerner, I'm a Hausa. So imagine coming all the way from the north to United States. I don't see a lot of Northerners in United States, much more in New Jersey, very few of us. So where do you go? And I am married to a Yoruba man at that point. Where do you go? Who do you ask for help? What do you say? And how do you say it? So I find out that when I was in that experience, that the best thing for you to do, and I'm speaking for myself, again, I want people to learn from me, and hopefully you can take 1 or 2 things out of it. When you are in that position where you are going through domestic abuse, your head is not functioning right. You cannot make any meaningful decision in your life unless you take a pause. You have to literally say, you know what? Let me just stop for a minute. Let me stop everything. Whether it's your job, I quit my job actually because I couldn't see. It was no longer necessary for me to have a job. I didn't want to do it because the only purpose why I was being loved is because of the money that I was bringing into the family. And so to make a statement when my power couldn't make the statement, I quit my job. I just stayed home. You know, so if you don't want to go out and go work, well, so be it. Well, I don't want you to be my wife anymore because I can't have a woman that will stay at home and not have a job or bring her income and give it to me. Well, okay, then so be it. You didn't marry me because of money. So guess what? If this is it, so then this is it. It became physical. It became verbal. And I had to hit rock bottom. Like I said, I lost my sense of prayer, but there is one prayer that I never forgot I knew how to do. I always would say, God, please help me. Beyond that, I have nothing else to say. I will always say, God, help me. I must have said it a million times. But then I was in that dark valley. I call it my dark valley. Nobody on the surface of this earth can tell you this is this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to do it. No, 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 no. Basically, the only thing that can save you is God, your faith. And if you have the power to make that decision on your own, to say, this does not feel right, I have to get out of this. So I got to that point. In my valley, I found the greatest gift of all, and that is grace. I found the grace of God. Because even though I was saying, God help me, I never knew God was listening. He listened and he gave me grace. And the grace that God gave me was the strength to refuse to accept what I was going through anymore. And I had to get out of that valley. And I got out of that valley by the grace of God. So it was me. I lost 3 homes. I lost everything that was connected to the benefits you get from marriage. I was in my marriage for literally 18 years, almost 20 years. And I walked away. And when I left with $50 in my wallet and my 2 younger kids in the back of my car. My oldest kids were already freshmen in college. I left. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know if I should go to a homeless shelter. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I wasn't going back. Long story short, when I left, the house meant nothing to me. What matters to me was my life, my children's life, and where I was going. So what I always tell people going through domestic violence is that do not attach yourself to material things, because when you do, living that environment becomes something very difficult for you to do. Some people hold on to homes. We bought the house together. We have a joint savings together. I'm not going to leave. We have to sell the house. We have to share this. If you hang yourself on that, there's a chance that you will never get out and you might end up losing your life. So if God can give you what he gave you while you were in that situation, God can also give you that same blessing when you leave. So that was my mentality. The mentality did not come to me automatically, basically. It took time. It took processing. I had to pray. I have to accept my accountability. What part did I play that led to that? Whether it was big, whether it was small, I accepted it. Then I learned to forgive myself. Then I made the conclusion that, wait a minute, I don't care about all of these material things. I am going to go and I am going to leave. If God had the power to bless me while I was with this man, guess what? God will bless me wherever it is that I'm going, because he's the same God. So I left. And when I left with $50 in my wallet, it took 2 days for me to realize I had no money. It took 2 days. And I was like, wait a minute. How do I feed my kids? I mean, what are we going to eat? I left my job because I was being chased all over the place. I had a restraining order. Everything just came up. But again, at that moment, I took a pause. And I said, God, if you can give me what I need, I will never stop talking about your glory in my life. I said, God, I don't know where you are. I remember that day when I said that prayer. I was holding on to my son and I said, God, please, do I go back and die or are you going to help me? I said, God, I don't need much. I said, but whatever it is that you want to see happen in my life, I said, God, take all the glory, but please do not let me be hungry with my children. I started going through my phone and I realized right next to my house, there was a food pantry. Now, I am educated with BSN. I had gone back to school for my master's, but here I was all lined up, all decked up in front of a food pantry in Morris Plains. I was not ashamed. I told my kids, I said, listen, I'm going to ShopRite. I'll be right back. I went to ShopRite. I asked the lady to give me 6 ShopRite bags. She gave me, I jumped in my car. I went to the pantry, filled them all up, brought them back home. And I said to my kids, I went and did some grocery because I know if I told my kids I went to the pantry, they might not even want to eat the food. So guess what? I kept telling them I'm going to ShopRite. And each time I come back home, I was coming back home with food from the pantry. But I'll tell you the greatest gift of all. I held on to the garment of God. I never let go, not even one time. I said, God, your grace took me out of the valley. Now I am out of the valley. I give you all the glory. I held on to God. I never gave up. And I said, God, I don't care about culture. I'm going above the boundaries of culture. I don't care about all of these Nigerians around me. I said, God, I am unique. I am different. I need you to take me to where I need to be at. And so that was my constant prayer. God, please help me. Let me be the best that I can be. I know it's painful. I know it's blinding. I can't see, I can't hear, but I know you are here. I don't know what to ask you, God, but you know what I need. So for me, it almost became more like a mental case where people were looking at me and saying, every time you see her, she's talking. All you have to do is ask her, how are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm fine. To God be the glory. All you have to do is pinch me and I'm telling you about God. Because I was I was so low to a point that no human being on the surface of this world can bring me back up to surface except God. And because of the faith that I have, remember God said, even if your faith is as small as a mustard seed, if you hang on to it, you will be okay. So I didn't know what size mine was, but I knew that every person around me has failed me. People that set the trap, people that lied, people that got, everybody around me became a suspect except God. So to people going through domestic violence, I would say to you, do not lose hope. No one can help you except God and yourself. But before you even help yourself, you have to ask yourself, what do you want for your life? When we are all created, there is a purpose for us. Do not let a situation, do not let a love, do not let a big house, do not let a big luxury car or a handsome husband who has a bad hat hold you ransom to your purpose in life. So back to the topic that we have, turning pain into purpose. You really don't know what your purpose is in life. It's not written, it's not dictated, it's not painted on the wall for you to say and identify and say, oh wow, this is what my purpose is. So therefore I'm going to go with it. That's not how it is. For me, purpose came after I went through that valley. And at the end of it all, the question I asked myself, if you didn't die, why are you alive? If you didn't die, why are you alive? So then it became a more soul searching for me. I'm like, God, why did you keep me alive? If I don't have enough time to tell you my whole story, but everything that could have killed me happened. From hospital visits to spiritual attack to voodoo, name it, I went through it. I went through the court system where I had to pay child support. My kids were turned against me. My kids were used to testify against me against their will. Picture this for a minute, where you are standing in court and your firstborn child is standing right there testifying against you. It is the worst thing that you can ever go through in life. So my story, I'm going to end it with the hope, with the blessing that came out of it. Just when I gave up, even though grace took me out of the valley, even though God helped me, even though everything was coming back to normal for me, that was not the end of the story. The biggest part of my story was that I never lost sight with God. I held on to God with everything that I got. And I never called too many people because I didn't know too many people anyways. So what I did is, I am a Muslim by birth. I started to read my Bible. I started to read, because when I read the Quran, it was all in Arabic. It was too much for me at that time to understand the whole concept of what was going on. But guess what? I started to read the Bible in English. It was telling me stories. It was encouraging me. It was doing so many different things to me. And so guess what? That was where I leaned to. That was what saved me. So for people that are already Christians, there is really power in the blood of Jesus, but you have to know that power. A lot of the Christians that I meet, they take that power for granted that is in the blood of Jesus, as if it cannot do so much for them. Coming from a Muslim background, I cannot tell you how many times I prayed. I cannot tell you how many times I asked God to help me. And at the end of it all, he did. I even said to myself, I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to get over this. My kids have been taken away from me, not because I'm a bad mother, but because somebody wanted to suffer me. Well, long story short, I have a testimony. Today, my kids are all back.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
I found love again.
Hallelujah.
The best thing that I never searched for love. I never went looking for, let me go to this church. Maybe I'll find. For 5 years, I didn't know what a man is called. I don't even, men are looking at me. I have no clue what they are looking at because my mind was not there. But guess what? God found me fit to give me that gift. So I found somebody that, when people see my husband, they only say, oh my God, after 4 kids? And I will laugh. It's not after 4 kids, it's the grace of God. My kids all came back to me, not because they should or because I have the power, but because God said so. I live in a better house today, not because I have the power, but because God said it's mine, it's so. So everything that I have lost, everything that I have said to myself, one house in Lekki, one in Bodija, one in New Jersey, here, Morris, whatever, everything that I lost, God gave them back to me. So this is the lesson. You have to give it all to God. But in giving it all to God, you have to make the decision yourself to say, I serve the I am that I am. I serve God. I'm married because of love. There is no pain in love. If pain is in love, you need to run to God and ask him to direct your step. Nobody tells you, leave your husband, go file for divorce. In our culture, in our Nigerian culture, that's not what we do. And even in the American culture, people don't tell you, you know what? Go and leave your husband. And no, people don't do that. You on your own as a human being, if God created us in his own image, tell me where pain comes in. Tell me where trauma comes in. Tell me where love becomes demonic. It doesn't happen that way.
Sure.
So when you find yourself in pain, it starts small, like a little tumor, and it grows. Nip it from the beginning and find a solution to it. Sometimes your solution is not your pastor. Your solution is not your sister. Your solution is not your brother. For me, none of those things work. And I tell you that on my life, the only solution that I had was to give it to God. Even before I left, I start asking God, what do I do? And God led the way for me. So do not give up. I'm going to round it up. Do not give up. Hold on to God. Make your decision to say, I am going to live. No matter what you lose, even if it's 10 homes, 10 cars, $10 million, you serve a God that is the God that gives all blessings. So even if you lose it, he's going to give it back to you again, perhaps even more than what you had before. So it's the courage, it's the mindset, and it's the start point. Once you start, that's it. Get out. Don't stay.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Binta. Binta, that was
Thank you.
That was very, very cool. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I mean, I personally have been really, really blessed. One thing I took is that there is no pain in love.
No.
Absolutely. There is no pain no pain and love. Thank you very much, Binta. And any
You're
shout out to
welcome.
Binta, I don't know, maybe you want to leave your email address. Yeah, just in case anybody want to reach out to you or through TouchLink as well, we'll be happy to connect so you
Okay.
can share your experience. We're
Okay.
rounding up now, just a little bit of information about what we do in TouchLink. You know, so TouchLink, as I said, this is our 7th year, and every year we'll be consistent in spreading the words of domestic violence. And just so you know, domestic violence could also affect men as well. I'm a guy, but that doesn't mean because it's you hear thinking about the ladies. Look at the statistics I read to you earlier on. If you have your brothers or your spouses or somebody around you that you think, or maybe just as colleagues and things, and you think they have these traits of being to themselves depressed or they're going to domestic violence, please reach out to TouchLink. We'll be happy to speak with them. So October is the month of DV. We started domestic violence every other day or across the days of October. We bring speakers to come and speak to us. We learn from them and things. Next event is on the 21st. Mondays and Thursdays, okay? Please go to our website. We need your support. Our theme for the year is love. Now, love, not just love alone, it is life over violence. We need your support. We're trying to raise a $40,000 goal so that we can continue to do what we're doing. And this will be at the grand finale also for a walk. Okay, join us for the walk. If you can support us, and to be in Avenel, was Linden area, correct me if I'm wrong, Woodbridge area, beg your pardon. And if you can join us on that day, is October 30th. Join us. Free. We'll be happy to take care of you. We'll give you barbecue and get you some drinks as well. But we just need your support for all this. Alrighty, please. Unfortunately, we can't take all the questions, but then you've been very helpful to us. We do appreciate your time here. Okay, thank you. If anyone said there's show, okay, someone said there's a show on Netflix called Made. Sholabomi, thank you. He said it's very insightful on emotional abuse, and it's very good for understanding how emotional abuse work on how you identify it. Sholabomi, thank you very much for giving that information. It's called Made.
Yeah,
right.
I'm currently. Yeah, that's so true.
What did you say, man? Oh,
no,
you
I said
it
that is.
well, right?
Everybody should try and watch Made. Made is on Netflix. Is very, very powerful. At least it gives you perspective to real life domestic violence. But thank you so much, Binta. See, I just want to tell you, Binta, don't stop sharing your testimony. Your testimony is so powerful. Many are going to know Jesus, coming to Christ through your testimony. Our story is very similar, but guess what? Where we are today is by grace. And I thank God for your life. Again, thank you, Dr. Agu. Everybody,
thank you
so much. I know we are out of time. Sorry for taking too much of your time, but it's worth it. It's really worth it. So let's go out there. Let's pay attention to our neighbors, our colleagues at work. You can do something. So take the resources, help somebody. Again, join TouchLink. We are here in the community, helping the community. We have resources to help. So please connect people to us. info@touchlink.org. Thank you so much, Toby. Awesome.